Rob said, I still believe even with the lack of new players, Liverpool will still be a force. Well, we'll probably be competitive to some extent, mate, yes. But do you think you're going to win the Champions League this year? Like, really? Do you think you're going to win the Premier League or the Champions League this year? I don't. And I take no pleasure in saying that. But how can I? How can I as a fan? Are you happy with the squad? It's a really simple question, right? And by the way, mods, playing a blinder tonight, mods, thank you. I've seen loads of comments come in and you've quickly jumped on them and got rid of them. Well done, thank you. Because it's making my life a lot easier. And I'm trying to do my part by not clicking on them to see them when you delete them. So thank you. I'm not biting on them because there's serious stuff to be talked about. The trolls don't deserve my time. Paul Merritt said, Craig, hopefully it will all come together. New boss, new season. Don't let the bastards grind you down. Again, Paul, it feels like anything we achieve will have to be an overachievement rather than what should happen. So anything that we win now, I feel like we do it in spite of the business rather than because of the business, if you get me. And look, let's look at our pre-season. You know, it's hard to really get a gauge on where you're at in pre-season for a whole host of different reasons. One, because players are coming back in staggered intervals. Two, we've got a lot of change inside the squad and a new coach. So it's really tough to gauge where exactly we're at. But I still feel like the same holes in midfield are there. The same concerns at right back are there. Centre back could be all right. It definitely could. Like, I'm really promised by I'm really pleased and promising what we've seen with Xhaka. Araujo looked all right as well, although we've only seen 45 minutes of each, but definitely promising. The reports about the Alisson situation freaked me out as well. To hear that, you know, Liverpool had initially agreed to let Alisson go to Juventus and then changed their mind again because all of a sudden they thought that was too much change. So it all just feels so strange. So polls open where we ask, are you happy with the squad? And when the answer to this is overwhelmingly yes, then everybody can stop saying that all I do is moan, because I'm speaking on behalf of everybody at this point. Because all the people that are coming in to say all I do is moan, you're not a Liverpool fan. You're absolutely not a Liverpool fan. Because I don't know a Liverpool fan that isn't concerned about this season and isn't still annoyed about last season. No real Liverpool fan could be. Let me just go back. I think I still have this Alisson story. 1 second. Because I know a few people probably haven't heard it. So let me just go back to it from yesterday. So this was DiMarzio speaking on the Tuna Mercato web podcast. So DiMarzio, obviously somebody who's pretty well known in transfer circles. He said this on that podcast. Juventus tried to sign Alisson. They went on a mission to Liverpool with their sporting director. Juventus reached an agreement with the player and they'd even chosen the shirt number. But then Liverpool, who were at first willing to let him go, decided that the change of coach and Salah leaving, they don't want to start the new season without two key players like Alisson and Van Dijk. So they changed their mind. To even consider that is idiotic. Because Georgie has not shown anything to suggest he's ready. We need to see more before we know. So to again have put us in the position where they were going to let Alisson go and then change their mind last minute, where's the thinking? Where's the planning? The Cornish biker said Alisson has at least 2 years left in him. Look, I would say 100%, but you have to be fair and caveat it and say you have to see how the injuries go. You know, because it's fair to say that in the last few years, we've seen Alisson start to get a few more injuries than we're used to. But his levels never dropped off. That's been the only concern that you'd say has been there, that the injuries have stacked up a little bit. But when he's fit and when he's available, I don't think there's many better. Certainly Georgie ain't better. So I absolutely agree with you, dude, that he has a few more years left in him. But I could understand the club wanting to just see if he can put those injury concerns behind him before maybe looking at an extension. But look at it the other way now. If you're Alisson, you're probably feeling a little bit frustrated by it, right? You thought you had to move away. You thought you picked out a shirt number and you were open to it. And then the club changed their mind again. So again, where's the joined up thinking here? Where's the great recruitment, data-led strategy that's supposed to be there? Because these guys are the best in the business. Haven't got a fucking clue. They're absolute spoofers. Who's out there that people think can do a job like Ali has? Nobody for me, really. Not at this point. I still have Alisson the top 3 keepers in the world, to be honest. So if I could pick as a fan, I'd want an extension, minimum 2 more years for him. Andrew said net spend last year was 224 million, not 150. I think my numbers are right, Andrew. And that's the numbers that have been reported by the media and journalists over the past year. So I believe the net spend last year was 150. Now, it could change a little bit. I'll give you that because of the Elliott deal. That did have an impact on it. But you're talking there a swing either way of maybe 20, 25 million. But yeah, the net spend that was widely reported and has been talked about by many, many journalists last year was 150, 160. And we were outspent by Arsenal net. But either way, Andrew, I don't get the point of, other than a factual correcting of me, which is absolutely no problems if that's the objective. But how does that change the fact that it's still not good enough, mate? Right? Doesn't change the fact that we still don't have a DM, that we still don't have a Salah replacement, that we still don't have a right back. None of that changes that. Admira, thank you. Avish said, how can we, as the fans, get in touch with the club to voice our opinions? They need to hear us and feel our emotions. Well, I guess at this question, Avish, mate, the question is, who is the club? Right? And I've often asked this question on here over the years, is when we think of Liverpool, who is the club? What do you think of? Because I could say to you, you can contact the supporters liaison officer, you can contact the club's media and press officer, but ultimately they'll just stonewall your emails, much like they've done with many of ours over the years. So the only way these fuckers ever understand anything is when their bottom line is hit and it hits them in the wallets, or when their reputations are taking a battering from people and they're constantly being called out. But you need people to be on side for that. And again, the people who are usually in positions where the club listen are the ones that are very much inside the camp and don't have a vested interest in shaking things up or speaking out.